All right, guys, today we have Jay King and Dave DuFour, and we are doing something new today called Defend the Take, where you have to defend the take that you are given, whether or not you believe it. And today's topic, guys, is all about Victor Wembanyama. Do you guys have any hot takes about Victor Wembanyama before we begin this exercise?
He's good at basketball.
He's very good.
Probably has a very bright
My
future.
hot take.
Unfortunately, one of you guys is going to have to not believe that for a second while we do this little experiment. The way this works is we have three different prompts today, and one of you guys will be taking the pro side for all these arguments, and the other guy will be taking the con side for all these arguments. You guys will each have 1 minute to present why your side of the argument is correct. And then at the end, we will have a little discussion about who is actually correct. But that being said, to decide who gets the pro and who gets the con side of the argument, we have a trivia question today. A very fun question, actually. On Victor Wembanyama's Wikipedia page, at the very top, the first thing it says is not to be confused with Victor Wembanyama. My question is, what does Victor Wembanyama do? And whoever gets the closest to the actual answer gets to pick which side of the debate they want to be on.
Oh, man.
He's a race car driver.
I'm going to say he works in government.
Okay, I think Jay is a little closer. He is a soccer player. He's a professional soccer player.
Oh, all right.
There you go. There you go.
So,
I was not really close.
That being said, Jay, do you want the pro side or the con side of all these arguments today?
This is a very good question because my real answers are flipped from question to question. So I'm going to go with the pro side. Let's go with the pro side.
Okay, Dave, that means you get the con side.
All right.
Cool. The first prompt I have for you guys. Victor Wembanyama would be a below average player right now if he was a normal sized NBA player. Now, Jay, since you are the pro side, you get to begin, and your 60 seconds start now.
Yes, he would be a below average player. Have you seen his three-point shooting percentages dating back to his time in France? He's not a three-point shooter yet. He probably will be. If he was 6'6", let's say, that's about average size in the NBA. Most of his shot blocking would be gone. He'd probably be something like Andre Robertson, something like that. Very talented defender. Still have really long arms. Still be able to contest shots and do all that. But so much of his offensive game would be gone. He's not a gifted enough ball handler and passer to be a great player or even a very good one if he wasn't 7'5". The good news for him is that he is 7'5", and he is extremely mobile, and he is extremely agile, and he's good enough at his size to be a generational talent. But if he were 6'6", 6'7", he'd probably still have a chance to be in the NBA, but would be nothing special.
Dave, you have 1 minute to counter his argument.
Well, my colleague did a lot to take away from Victor Wembanyama and what he would lose, the easier block shots. But he doesn't give him any sort of benefits to only being 6'6", 6'7". I think that handle would be better. He's already got a quick first step. And without the extremely long arms, remember this guy has a crazy wingspan, likely to already be a better shooter. Not a hesitant shooter. I mean, he's scoring 19 points a game as it is as a rookie. Maybe he's up around 23, 24 because he's going to have higher usage. Basketball IQ for this guy is already very high. He sees the court at a high level. You can see him being more of a playmaker as a 6'7" guy. And defensively, Jay, you're leaving out the most important part to Victor Wembanyama when it comes to defense. He's got that dog in him. All the stuff that you love about Dylan Brooks, I think Victor Wembanyama's got it. He's just not as loud and yappy about it. I think that when you watch him guard Steph Curry, it doesn't matter.
Time. Interesting points there, Dave. Now, both of you guys have the opportunity now to have a conversation amongst yourselves. And yeah, try to convince me that you are correct with your side of the argument.
Victor Wembanyama, if he's 6'7", is a lockdown. He's a lockdown 3-and-D wing no matter what. At worst, but he can put the ball in.
Who says he's got the three? He doesn't have the three when he's 7'5". When he's 6'6", 6'7", Everybody's going to be able to contest him better. He won't be guarded by big.
He's a rookie shooting off the dribble at 32%
we said right now. We did not say at his prime. We did not say 10 years from now would he be great 6'6", 6'7". We said Victor Wembanyama right now. Would he be a good player as an average size guy?
Yeah, he would be. No. He would not be a below average player. He would be at least a league average player right now.
He would be in the NBA though, which is kind of astounding. There aren't many guys who could lose 10 inches from their height and still be in the NBA. He's one of them. One of very few on that list.
That says a lot right there.
Dave, I have a question for you specifically. I feel like a lot of your argument comes down to intangibles within Victor Wembanyama. There are a lot of great NBA players right now with great intangibles who aren't actually great NBA players. So,
name one.
Exactly. I feel like a lot of them aren't in the league.
Intangibles matter. The intangibles matter. Listen, he already defends the perimeter extremely well at 7'5". So if he was 6'7", I think reasonably we could make the assumption he would be even better as a defender on the wing. I think his defense changes. He's not as much of a shot blocker, help side guy around the rim. He's more of a point of attack and a different sort of help side, maybe more Paul George-ish than he is Kevin Durant. But I still think he's an elite defender no matter how tall he is. In the offensive game, I mean, again, the guy handles pretty well for his size. You have to think that would improve if he was shorter. And the shot will go in. I mean, he shoots like a guy who makes them. So I think that when you're looking at a rookie, yeah, absolutely. Not a below average guy. I mean, maybe all the way down to 6'4", 6'5".
Dave, I shoot like a guy who's going to make them, but I'm not in that.
He's highly skilled guy. He's not just tall.
Jay, you have any thoughts on this?
I love how Dave is just adding to his other traits just because he's losing inches. What would not
you have were taking away because he was losing inches?
Let's change everything. He's 6'6", he's 6'7". Not everybody has dedicated their time to making him great. He never learned that he has to do barefoot workouts and become so flexible and do all this stuff. Victor Wembanyama, you know what? He'd probably be an accountant at 6'6".
Actually, you know what? Victor Wembanyama, I think if he wasn't so tall, would have gotten super into the weight room and get extremely jacked.
Okay, well, I have the final say here. And I think, Dave, because so much of your argument is based on what ifs, I think you lose this one. I think I got to give Jay the point here.
Unbelievable.
All of your arguments were like...
I had the easy side of the argument, though.
Yeah. Dave, all of your points on this were like, oh, he would be better at this, though. He'd be better at this. And I don't know. That's all hypothetical. He might not be better at these things.
What if if he's still blocking shots the same way then? Right? He's 6'7". He's blocking 3 shots a game. He's not turning the ball over. He's not committing fouls. He's up around
6'7" guys ever blocked 3 shots per game.
Yeah. Does he just have like a 50-inch vertical? Like, what does he do?
Dwight Howard.
The second prompt I have for you guys. If you swapped Nikola Jokic and Victor Wembanyama right now this season, the Spurs would finish with a better record than the Denver Nuggets. Jay, you are the pro side. You can begin now.
Yes, absolutely. The Spurs would have a better record than the Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the game today. There is a significant gap between him and the second best player. He makes every single player on that roster better. If he was gone from the Nuggets, Jamal Murray wouldn't be as good. Michael Porter Jr. wouldn't be as good. Nobody on the roster would be as good. And if he showed up on the Spurs, every single player there would be much, much better. Jokic has mastered the ability to make the right decision on every play. He sees the court better than maybe anybody in the history of the game. If not that, he's on the short list of a few guys who do that ever. Nobody else lifts the players around him more than Jokic does. And if you put him in San Antonio, they would be, and took him off the Nuggets, San Antonio would be the better team.
Dave, you can counter that whenever you would like to start.
Jay, basketball is a team sport, right? How many times have we seen one star carry a team and do better than a team full of guys that are all-star caliber players. I mean, Jamal Murray is an all-NBA level guy who hasn't won all-NBA yet, but he certainly is up in that conversation. Michael Porter Jr., now a two-way monster. Aaron Gordon, I mean, that's 3 all-star level players, and you're adding Victor Wembanyama, the greatest prospect in NBA history, who is already, as a very young rookie, averaging, 20 and almost 10 with 3 blocks. I mean, the defensive drop-off, I think, because Jokic is a very good defender, but I think Wembanyama is already a better defender than Jokic, at least a more impactful, high-leverage defender than Jokic. And certainly he doesn't bring the playmaking that Jokic does, and he's not as fast. Him and Murray in the pick and roll is going to work.
Time. Dave, you're going to end on a negative there. But you guys now can converse and rebut each other.
The Spurs don't have the talent. They don't have the talent.
The Spurs
Jamal Murray, 30 points a game, man.
The Spurs right now, with Wembanyama on their team, dead last in net rating in the NBA. Worse than the Wizards, who are getting pummeled. Worse than anyone. You add Jokic to that, everything changes.
They're going to be great when Jokic is on the court, and awful the rest of the time.
That's fine. So are the Nuggets.
And the Nuggets would be
4
good
points per possessions this year without Jokic on the court. Last year, it was even worse than that, I believe. Yeah, minus 10.4 last year without Jokic on the court. So basically, put him on the Spurs right now, they would just become the Nuggets. That would be it. They'd probably win the NBA championship. Devin Vassell would be the All-NBA instead of Jamal Murray.
This is insane. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr.
would be the new Aaron Gordon. Imagine the easy buckets. I can't say this stuff with a straight face.
I just think that Victor Wembanyama would have an easier job going to Denver, right? Like then Jokic would come into San Antonio.
Because Jokic is the solar system. Jokic is the universe.
Without
Victor Wembanyama would have to go there and be the solar
and with
system.
a league average center, the Nuggets are still a decent team. Victor Wembanyama is
average center. It's
is
either
above
Jokic
a
or
league
like
average
DeAndre
center.
Jordan.
It's true. It's always a huge drop off. Mason Plumlee, coming out there and stinking it up for 10 to 12 minutes a game. Yeah, but I just think that it's an easier lift for Victor Wembanyama to, whereas the Spurs, man, you start getting below Devin Vassell on the depth chart, and it's not great.
Zach Collins would be probably an all-star with Jokic next to him.
Zach Collins would be coming off the bench for 9 minutes a game.
Heck of a backup, though.
How many wins? Or actually, do either of those teams make the playoffs? Not the play-in, like straight up playoffs.
The Spurs would make the playoffs. Yeah,
Spurs would be in the play-in with Jokic, and I think that the Nuggets with Victor Wembanyama would be top 6.
I think we're underestimating, or you are underestimating, the strength of Nikola Jokic. We saw this with LeBron James. LeBron James took Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance, Kevin Love, and a bunch of misfits to the finals. Jokic is at that level of LeBron, lifting up everyone around him. He doesn't need a lot of talent to win a lot of games and to do significant things in the playoffs. He's just that good, and he's that good at impacting every single person around him. So he would show up there, and they would be just incredible. And Wembanyama, for as good as he is, he hasn't reached that level yet where he's just lifting up the games of everyone around him. It could come. It could absolutely come. It probably will come. We've already talked about how generationally gifted he is, but not yet.
I have one follow-up to that, Jay. You're making a comparison between prime Jokic and prime LeBron. Are they the same player? The same level?
No, not the same player, but similar level. And granted, LeBron did it for 15 years straight, 18 years straight, however long you want to say his peak was. Jokic probably will never do that. He doesn't seem like the type who will be playing when he's 40 years old. He'll probably be at horse races somewhere 365 days a year. But at his peak, Jokic is similarly impactful as LeBron was. And that's incredible high praise. But there's just very few guys who can make the passes, see the plays, see the entire game the way Jokic does.
Dave, I'm going to give you the final word on this. Any concluding thoughts?
No, I mean, I just think the Nuggets have a much better team. And the Spurs would have the best player. But then how far down would you, if you had a combined roster, how far down would you have to go before you got to the next Spur? It's pretty far. And that matters in basketball. It's a team sport. 5 guys have to be out there. Jokic can do only so much. So, I mean, we've seen Jokic without Murray before, by the way. How'd that work out? So
where would Christian Brown be without Jokic? Where would Julian Strawther be without Jokic? Where would
we don't know.
Kentavious Caldwell-Pope be without Jokic?
Now, hang on a second. Now,
he played with LeBron before.
Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is a champion before he was with Nikola Jokic.
He was good with LeBron.
I think his role would be pretty solid. This is just kind of the perfect role for him. Maybe they just run the offense through Wembanyama.
I'll be honest, Jay. I really like your arguments. You had the numbers, and I was actually going to give you the point until you broke, and you started laughing. And I was just like, "Oh, he doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe it."
I do believe this. I absolutely believe this. I chose this because I believe it.
I think we got to give Dave the point. If you didn't break,
because I believe it.
No, he absolutely believes it.
Nah, you would have had the point if you didn't break. But the breaking, that was like, no, I lost it.
No breaking. There was no breaking.
The third and final point I have for you guys. Bol Bol would average 20 points per game if he got the minutes and touches that Victor Wembanyama currently has. Jay, you can start with your pro side.
Now this is breaking. This is breaking. Bol Bol, we have rarely seen 7-footers with as much outside skill. He can handle. He can put it on the floor. He can go coast to coast. He is far more fluid than most guys his size with his wingspan. He's just never had the opportunity to be in that situation where he's given the ball, where he knows he's going to get the ball, where he knows he's going to be on the floor, where everything is built around him. Imagine a team where everything is built around Bol Bol, where everything is structured to maximize his talent. How would he not score 20 points per game? This is a guy who is 7'2", can move, can handle, can pass, and glides to the hoop like he's 6'1" or 6'2". This is an extremely gifted guy.
Time. All right, Dave. You can start your argument now.
At no point in his career per 36 has he touched 20 points a game. And he's not, I mean, you called him fluid. He's like a theoretical shooter. He's actually not a good 3-point shooter. I believe he's below 30% 3-point shooting for his career. Doesn't really have a good handle. Very slight. Not a good defender to pay attention on or off the ball. So like hard to keep him in games in sort of high leverage situations when you need him defensively. So that's going to take away from his scoring quite a bit. Just not that good of a player. Straight up. If he was, as we've talked about, he would have gotten the opportunity because there's not a lot of guys that move the way he does at his height and have the theoretical juice that he has, especially shot blocking and the theoretical shot blocking. Because guess what? The shot blocking's not even there. So
Time. All right. Go for it. Argue.
I can't argue. You had this one as soon as you opened Basketball Reference and saw that per 36 minutes, his most is 16.6 points when he was a rookie.
That's it.
And he's never topped that.
Yeah. He's,
But you did wade into the waters of how impactful he was defensively. It wouldn't matter how impactful he was defensively.
Oh,
we were talking simply about 20
play.
points per game. We were talking about him getting the same minutes and touches as Victor Wembanyama. So his minutes would not be impacted by his inability to stay focused defensively.
Jay, Jay,
In
you
this
know how
world,
basketball works.
he
You
is
know how
on the court.
basketball
He is
works.
getting the ball.
If he
Jay
was
does have a
defending-
point. Dave, I would like to have you focus it. In this world, he's getting the
Oh,
touches.
man.
Even if he doesn't play defense, he's getting the touches.
Defense matters.
This is
I mean,
like the
I guess that's
argument I
fair.
used to have. I used to always say that I could get 10 points in an NBA game if I had to play all 48 minutes. If a coach could not take me off the court for any missed defensive rotation, could not take me off the court for being unable to guard any person on the court, and I was just out there, couldn't take me off the court for bad shot selection, I would have scored in my prime 10 points in a game. And it would have been horrible for my team. We would have been blasted, absolutely blasted. The other team would have been ignoring me because I stink at basketball, but I would have gotten a bunch of shots. I would have been a selfish gunner, and I would have been able to score 10 points in a game.
This sounds like Bol Bol.
Bol Bol would have gotten 20 though, because he's twice.
This sounds
as good
like
as
Bol
Thomas.
Bol. I mean, you just described Bol Bol, and for those reasons, yeah, no, 20 points per game, not possible. Now, if he's going to play all 40 minutes, he's going to take 48 shots or something. Yeah, sure. This isn't 2K.
But it
I
is
just
2K because
he's not as good.
Victor
He's
Wembanyama's role.
not a good enough player to be able to do it on a consistent basis, because 20 points a night is surprisingly hard.
Let's say there was a team.
We talk about it because we talk about the guys that score 20 points a game. And there are definitely a lot of guys that do it. You know, I think there was over 50 guys last year that scored at least 20 points a game out of 450. He's in that other group.
Okay, so let me pose another question to you.
This is no Cam Thomas that we're talking about.
Who would be the worst player who would average 20 points per game if given Victor Wembanyama's role and touches?
30 minutes a game, 15 shots. Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks, you can't put him in the worst player. He's an all NBA defender.
I thought we weren't talking defense, Jay. I thought we weren't talking defense.
But I said I had a different question. I posed a different question.
I mean,
Cam
it's probably
Thomas,
Dylan Brooks, right?
Cam Thomas might be up there.
Cam Thomas would absolutely be, yeah.
I mean, he's a bucket. That man is a bucket.
Yeah. Just build around him. Just, build a defense that allows you to play Cam Thomas 38 minutes a game.
How many points is Cam Thomas scoring if he got Victor Wembanyama's touches? I think over 30.
Well, he does.
He gets those touches.
He would take those touches no matter what. It doesn't matter
right.
what situation he's in, what system he's in. If he's on the court, he is going to touch the ball. He is going to put him up. Doesn't matter who he's playing with. That's just what Cam Thomas does. And sometimes it's to the detriment of his team. Other times it's spectacularly awesome. And I don't know how I brought up Cam Thomas here when we were talking about Bol Bol. But Bol Bol is not as good a scorer as Cam Thomas. This was really hard to formulate an argument to have Bol Bol score 20 points. I'm not going to lie. This was the only one. 2 out of 3 were yeses. This was a no, and an obvious no. And I tried my best to argue my way out of the corner, but I don't think I did it.
Let me ask you, by the end of the season, do you think you might change your opinion on Victor Wembanyama with the Nuggets?
No, because Jokic is so much better than anyone else, and he's going to be so much better at the end of this season than Victor Wembanyama that I actually believe that. I think if you put him on any team, he's lifting up that team so much that like it doesn't matter. There are a lot of guys that you could trade places with him, and he would just make his new team better. He's so good.
Best player in the league.
Well, as the judge and the final arbiter of truth, I'm actually going to give the point to Jay.
Against all odds.
Hey,
This is
Bol Bol is an Orlando Magic legend. And I was just going to give the point to whoever gave him the least amount of hate. And you guys both gave him hate, but Jay gave him a little less hate. And so Jay gets the point.
This is magical.
Dave doesn't look too happy.
Orlando Magic legend.
Orlando Magic legend.
Can't fight it. I can't fight it.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, Jay wins 2-1.
9 points a game.
That's it.
26.5% 3-point shooting.
Hey, don't worry about it. We don't worry about Orlando. Hey, at least he's shooting them. At least he's shooting them, man. Like, that's all we care about.
It's like a little over 1 a game.
Okay, all right. we'll ignore that. Cool.
I love that Bol Bol just keeps coming up whenever Wembanyama gets discussed, though. It's really hilarious.
He had a great highlight reel, man.
Yeah, okay, random question. If Bol Bol and Boban got the same amount of touches, who scores more points per game?
Boban.
Yeah.
Boban.
Boban was
is
super
one
productive.
of the most efficient players in NBA history.
Super productive.
Absolutely.
Whenever he's on the court, he just can't do enough of the other stuff to stay on the court. But bring up Bol Bol every time Victor Wembanyama gets met. It's like bringing up Alfonso McKinney when you talk about Michael Jordan. Like what are we doing?